Have you ever felt like your focus is just shattered? Like it's getting harder and harder to just sit and concentrate on one thing? Well, you're definitely not alone. And here's the thing, it might not actually be your fault. Today, we're going to dive into how social media is quietly but very, very powerfully reprogramming your brain.
So let's just kick things off with this one big idea. You didn't just lose your attention span. It didn't, just float away.
No, it was trained away from you, actively reconditioned by a system that is literally designed to do exactly that. One tiny little interaction at a time.
I mean, really think about it. Every single time you scroll, you get every one of those phantom buzzes you feel in your pocket. Each one is like a little lesson, a tiny line of code being written straight into your brain.
And this isn't some big dramatic thing that happens overnight. It's quiet, a gradual reprogramming that's happening just under the surface without you even really noticing. So you know what? Let's pull back the curtain and actually see how this whole thing works.
Okay, first up, we've got what's basically a reward machine. This whole section is about how social media hijacks one of the most powerful chemicals you've got, dopamine.
Now, a lot of people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical, but it's really more the chemical of wanting something. It's that drive that makes you seek things out, and every like, every comment, every single share, that's a tiny little reward. But here's the real kicker, they're totally unpredictable. You never know when the next one's coming. This is a variable reward schedule. It's the exact same trick that makes slot machines so incredibly addictive. It literally trains your brain to crave that next hit.
And what this does is it creates this incredibly powerful feedback loop, right? You post something, you get a little reward like a like, your brain gets that little hit of dopamine, but it's never quite enough to satisfy you, is it? So your brain just learns one thing, more. And that's why you find yourself just scrolling, endlessly searching for that next little fix. So this constant chase for dopamine leads us straight into our next big point, the attention thief. And yeah, this has some pretty massive consequences for our ability to just focus.
See, your brain is amazing at adapting to whatever environment you put it in. So when it gets used to this constant, never-ending stream of tiny, stimulating bits of content, the very idea of sitting down for, say, an hour to focus on just one thing, what we call deep work, that starts to feel, well, genuinely uncomfortable. It even feels boring. Shallow scrolling just becomes the new default setting.
And this is so important to get. If you struggle to read a book these days, or just focus on a big project, it is not a moral failing. You're not lazy. It just means your brain has been conditioned to operate in a totally different, much, much faster environment. All right, next up, let's talk about something a little deeper, our identity. Because social media isn't just changing how we think, it's changing how we see ourselves. And it does this through what I call the comparison engine.
I mean, what we see online, it's never the whole story, right? It's a highlight reel, a perfectly curated collection of only the best moments. We see all the promotions, the perfect-looking vacations, the flawless selfies, but we see none of the messy, boring, real life that happens in between.
And here's the crazy part. Even when you know it's not the full reality, your brain can't help itself. It's a comparison machine. That's what it does. It just instinctively measures your life against these perfect ideals. And that constant comparison, man, it can slowly, piece by piece, chip away at your confidence. And it leaves a lot of self-doubt behind.
Okay, this next one gets a little dark. We're talking about engineered emotions. See, the platforms have figured out that one thing keeps us glued to our screens more than anything else, really, really strong feelings.
Anger. It's an incredible engine for engagement. It just makes you want to jump in, to comment, to argue, to share it with everyone.
And then there's outrage. That's even more powerful. It creates this intense us versus them feeling that is just incredibly sticky. You can't look away. And then, after all that, comes the reward. Validation. That amazing feeling of being seen, of being heard, of people agreeing with you. That's the dopamine hit that keeps you right there, in the game. So when you're just constantly being hit with content that's designed to make you feel a strong emotion, your brain learns to just react all the time. You lose that space for quiet, thoughtful reflection. And in a way, you're not even choosing how you feel anymore. The algorithm is choosing for you. And finally, all of this, it all leads to one of the most obvious changes in modern life, our total inability to simply be bored. Seriously, think about it. When was the last time you just stood in line and did nothing, without pulling out your phone,
All those little quiet moments, those gaps in the day that used to be for daydreaming or just looking around, they're gone. They're now instantly filled with stimulation. It's like our brains are forgetting how to just be still.
So what's the big takeaway here? Look, the point isn't to say that social media is evil. It's not. But it is so crucial to understand that it isn't harmless either. It's an incredibly powerful tool that is actively shaping the way you think, whether you realize it or not.
And really, that's the whole idea. The most dangerous changes are the ones you don't even notice. These subtle little shifts in your attention, your mood, your idea of who you are. They're the most profound because they're happening without your permission. And just being aware of it, that's the first step to taking back some control.
So now I want to turn this around and ask you, after hearing all this, just take a second and really think about it. On balance, has social media actually improved your life? Or has it quietly, maybe, taken something valuable away from you?
I really want to hear what you think. Let's keep this conversation going down in the comments. Tell me your perspective. And hey, if this whole thing opened your eyes a bit or gave you a new way to think about your own habits, do me a favor and hit that like button. And of course, to make sure you catch our next deep dive, definitely subscribe. Because honestly, understanding these forces, that's the first real step to navigating them.